Hello, and welcome to a very special episode of Two Better Halves. We're calling Two Critical Halves. In this episode, we're going to take a movie, TV show, video game that we have experienced during our quarantine and let you know if we thought it was A or meh or boo. With me, as always, is my better half, Sarah.
Hello.
And I am her better half, Linton.
Absolutely.
And we're going to be discussing Playing with Fire.
Playing with Fire with John Cena. Yes, Nickelodeon movie, if I remember correctly.
You remember correctly. We're not going to spend our usual 30 minutes each. We're not going to have any kind of fun game at the end. We are just going to give you 5 minutes of the good, 5 minutes of the bad, and then we will give you our score. Yeah?
Yeah, sounds
good. And our
good.
scoring system is very unique. It is the Linton Special. If you are friends with me on the social medias, then you know that I rank everything on a 1 through 7 scale. I think when you get into the 1 through 10s, it's just like, what's the difference between a 3.5 and a 4? What's the difference between a 6 and a 7, really? I mean, if you say, man, that boy over there, it's a 7. It's like, well, wow, that sucks. And if you say, wow, that boy over there is a 6, it's like, wow, that sucks too.
Yeah, but if you look at people who do like the 1 to 10 scales too, like a lot of times 1, 2, 3 hardly ever gets used. Like everything starts with the higher numbers. It's like skews everything upward. And
look, you said the 1, 2, 3 parts. I mean, if you heard that a movie was a 3, is that going to make you feel differently if you hear that a movie's a 2? Not really, right?
No, I'm probably not going to watch either one of those.
Exactly. So we do 1 through 7. 7 being the best, 1 being the worst, 4 being that nice middle. Because no, also it's an odd number, so you got that middle. So first we have to let you know how our scale would be. So what would you be your number 7 favorite movie?
Favorite movie?
Don't overthink it. Just a movie that hits everything you enjoyed. If you said, this is my favorite movie, a 7, this is what I think of.
Breakfast Club.
Breakfast Club. Okay. So we know Sarah likes Breakfast Clubs. Mine are, I have 3. Road to El Dorado.
Tell me I could have 3.
Well, if you have more than one, that's absolutely fine. Just mine are different. So it will give people sort of a understanding of what I consider the best movies. Road to El Dorado. And I'll just do 2 then. And then The Return of the King, because both of those are so different. Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, The Road to El Dorado, the animated film. Those are perfect 7s to me.
No, and that's fair. They are very different. So.
You have another one, or that you good?
Movie-wise, no, that's all I got.
Okay, perfect. And then a number 1, a movie that you actually sat down and watched, not one that's forgettable, but one that you really, really did not like. Do you have a 1 movie?
I'm trying to remember. Give me a second, because there's one that was awful, but I can't remember the name of it right now. Oh, no, I have a 1 movie. Boxing Helena. Terrible movie.
I've never seen it. I've heard of it.
He cuts her up and puts her in a box under his bed, and she's just like a body with no arms and legs, and it's trying to be
funny?
artsy. No, it's trying to be artsy and cinematic, and it's awful.
Wow.
And you know this about me. I can't give up on things. I start something, and even if it's bad, I just want to see.
This is her second marriage, but yeah, go ahead.
I just want to see what's going to happen. I have to know the ending. I can't give up on a book. I can't give up on a movie. There's 1 book I didn't finish. Very few movies that I've never finished, usually because you didn't want to finish them, and I didn't make that call. So I have a problem with that. So I watched all of Boxing Helena, and it didn't get better.
Just so we're clear, there has never been a movie where I've been like, can we quit watching this? You're like, no, I want to watch it. And I've said, I'm making the call. We're turning this off.
No, that is fair. But my point was that I probably would have, like, I wasn't enjoying it, but I would not make the call to pull the trigger and say, let's stop watching it. And you will.
Force you to stop.
Yes.
All right. My number 1 that would get a 1 out of 7 would be I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry with, I think, Kevin James and Adam Sandler. In the theaters, it's the only movie I ever walked out of. But then I decided to watch it again when it was on one of the streaming services. And I was like, wow, this is terrible. I hate this.
I'm not
surprised.
surprised.
This is terrible. So that is my my 1. What would be a movie that you consider just fine? Like, you know, if someone really was into, like, it fit, like, someone's like, I really want to watch a movie that's action and has Harrison Ford in it, and it fits, like, the genre they're asking for really specifically. You'd be like, oh, yeah, this one's worth watching at least. What's a good number 4 movie?
Well, now that you put it in my head, I'm thinking of like Indiana
Jones. Well, yeah,
Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's a good movie. I'd watch it, but I would never be like, hey, let's put this on right now.
Yeah, I think Raiders of the Lost Ark is a perfectly reasonable one. I'd say Moulin Rouge.
Yeah.
That one's, it gets a little draggy at points. There's a couple forgettable songs, but, that's someone's like, oh, I want to watch a musical. I'd name a couple of others. I'd be like, oh, Hairspray. Road to El Dorado, obviously. And then I would probably be, after a couple more, I'd be like, oh, have you seen Moulin Rouge? So,
No, that's fair.
Okay, so here's what we do. 5 minutes of talking about the good of the movie, Playing with Fire. I'm going to run down the description of the movie from the internet. When straight-laced fire superintendent Jake Carson and his elite team of firefighters come to the rescue of 3 siblings, they quickly realize that no amount of training could prepare them for their most challenging job yet, babysitting. As their lives, jobs, and depot get turned upside down, the 3 men soon learn that children, much like fires, are wild and unpredictable. This movie is rated, was it G or PG?
I would guess PG.
Yeah,
but
it's PG.
Okay.
PG. It is available currently. You can rent it on a lot of those services. It is, I think, $5. $5 for us. It came out on November 8th, 2019. The budget was $29 million. It made $62.3 million at the box office. So, okay. Rotten Tomatoes score, it sits at a 21%. I think that's certified rotten, yeah?
I don't know a lot about Rotten Tomatoes score, but that sounds like a pretty low score.
That's, if that's not rotten. All right, so whenever you're ready to start the clock, we will go with the bad first, I guess, for this movie.
Okay, and go.
Go.
There were a lot of poop jokes.
Hell yeah, there were.
Yes, and that is not my cup of tea at all. And some of them persisted for a really long time. And some of them were really absurd and over the top. So if I had my biggest complaint about the movie, that is definitely my biggest complaint.
If you know anything, you know the poop jokes are great. They really are. Poop jokes.
They're not.
Yeah, sure they are. But there is one, the stinky diaper, I have to change a stinky diaper joke is one that is just painful. That I appreciate poop jokes that are about the idea of poop. I guess is how I put it. Not actual poop. And there's a scene that it really does feel like it goes on for 20, 30 minutes where they have to change the diaper of the little girl.
Who appears to be like 4 or 5 and probably shouldn't be wearing a diaper.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree with that. A lot of times, I think of like 3 Men and a Baby, things like that. Baby's Day Out, where there's a stinky diaper, but it's a baby. This is a young little child that I was surprised when I found out that she poops herself. And then so when she's laying there and they're trying to get up the guts to get through the smell to change her, and they keep showing her, I was like, wow, it looks like little girls that I know, and this is not what they go through. This kid looks too old. This is uncomfortable. It made me uncomfortable because the kid was so old, and the poop was so smelly, according to them.
Well, and so that brings us to another poop joke involving the same said little girl, where John Cena is in the woods trying to go to the bathroom, and he's holding her in front of his face, looking her dead in the eye. And again, this would be a terrible joke if she was a small baby of 1 or maybe 2. But she's like 4 or 5.
I disagree
she
with
should
that
not
one.
be sitting and looking at a grown man with his pants pulled down who she is not related to. I had serious problems with that.
I don't agree with that one. It's not a good part of the movie, but there's context is king. That's what Eric Bischoff always says, and he's perfect. The little girl had to be held because she was scared and she was crying, and so she wanted to be with John Cena. He was in the woods at night, and it was dark.
But there were 2 other people she could have stayed with who were relatives of hers.
That's not what comforted her. They established in the movie that she was learning to be comforted by him. That's why it was so important at the end when he decides to adopt them. Obviously, there's going to be spoilers in all these reviews. I thought that, and he doesn't actually poop. He sits there and holds her and decides, and he tells her, I can't do it with you looking at me. And then something else happens and he gives up.
But he has his pants down.
She can't see it. It's dark.
I don't know.
And it's not real.
It made me uncomfortable.
That one didn't bother me because it makes sense that John Cena would have to use the restroom. And then there was one more, and I can't even remember it. There was a third.
Oh, there was lots and lots.
Of poop jokes?
Yes. There were so many. And then he vomits in his little face mask thing.
John, this is the funny part. The hilarious part of the changing diaper scene earlier. John Cena goes and gets a hazmat suit on. Or is it
it's his firefighter
Michael
suit.
Keys. Michael Keegan Keys? Michael Keys? Michael, what is it? Michael Key,
Peel?
Keegan, Michael Key,
Keegan.
Peel?
Yes, Keegan.
Yeah, Michael.
He's Keegan.
Michael Key. All right. Michael Key gets the hazmat suit on because doesn't want to smell it, but it's still so intense that he vomits inside of it, so he vomits all over the front of the mask, and that's the end of the scene. That was funny. Anything else that really sticks out to you that you didn't like?
I mean, the thing is that I have to take this in the context of the movie in which it was written. It's a Nickelodeon movie. It's clearly made for kids. It's in the Nickelodeon vein. But everything was so over the top and dramatic and big face pulls. And you know what? I grew up with that. I was a fan of Ernest. But the entire time I looked at John Cena, all I could think of was his facial expressions were so very earnest. He looked like his face was made out of Play-Doh. Everything was so exaggerated and over the top. But that was in the vein with the movie. It's just not my personal preference. But I understand that what they were trying to do.
Yeah, the acting, because even, there's a lot of... Keegan Michael Key is obviously a very popular actor. Thought it was very good. John Leguizamo, is that how you say his name? Mm-hmm. He's great in everything.
Yes.
So even the ones that are typically really reliable actors, they definitely pulled a lot of over the top faces, and they turned their acting down, and they're goofing up. So seeing all of them do it made it where, like you said, that's what you're in for. It did make John Cena stick out so much to me, like it did for you, because everybody is going over the top. Oh, damn, is that 5 minutes already?
That's 5 minutes.
Oh, golly. Well, we don't like a couple things. We don't completely agree with it. We might have to think about doing that in not only 5 minutes. All right. Well, this is what you're getting for now. Let us know if you like it as 5 minutes or not. Now we're going to do 5 minutes of the things we like.
All right.
But, of course, if you disagree with it, you can then tie it into things you didn't like. Then we'll give you our overall score. So, tie for us, please.
And go.
I really like John Cena's acting in this. I don't know why you're attacking the greatest WWE champion of all time. The first 15, 20 minutes, I was annoyed by him. I was like, wow, he's so robotic. And, I think robotic is the perfect word. It's like, this is bad. This is like a bad WWE promo. But then when he starts opening up his heart, like when his romantic interest finally comes to the date, you can see that all the robotic stiffness is softening. And he's getting better and better and better and better. So it wasn't his bad acting like I thought it was the first 15, 20 minutes. It was a character choice. I thought acting-wise, the more the movie went, he definitely pulled the crazy, wacky faces down and got more softer and realer. By the end, he was just like a regular dude, I thought.
So I will say that I definitely did like the overall story of the fact that he had this job that he was always trying to strive for, and it was unclear if it was really just for him or if it was because he wanted his dad to be proud and to follow in his footsteps. And then he finds these kids and he realizes that all the things that he thought he wanted, that there's really more that he needs to have, the love and the companionship for the kids, for the love interest, the love that he already had for all the people that worked with him. So I really liked that. I thought that was great. And I agree. I think that he did a good job of following that story arc and going from a guy who's really focused on just this one thing, and it may not even be the thing he wants, but he's sort of driven all of his ambition and everything into this one thing, to starting to loosen up and realize that there's a lot more that life has to offer. So I really thought that was great. And I do think that within the context of the story he did a great job. And
there were LOL moments. I know you didn't like the poop. The My Little Pony stuff.
There was an extraordinary amount of My Little Pony in this movie, and it shocked me because it's not a Nickelodeon product.
We don't think. It's possible.
It's possible.
Nickelodeon owns Hasbro, maybe?
But it was delightful. All of it was delightful. From every single character and how they embraced it, from John Cena wandering around in a little My Little Pony crop top, to the birthday party, to the one character who didn't talk for the entire time, but was so excited by My Little Pony, who carried around an axe everywhere. All the My Little Pony stuff was delightful.
Yeah, his name is Axe, and he ends up singing My Little Pony songs. And it started with just, they're sitting in the fire station in the lounge, and the little girl wants to watch My Little Pony. And it was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's what kids would watch. But then it just builds and builds, and her whole birthday party is themed to it. And the Leguizamo.
John Leguizamo.
John Leguizamo. He starts quoting My Little Pony, Rainbow Dash and stuff by the end of it. I don't think they bring up a single other intellectual property in the whole movie.
No, not that I can
It's
recall.
like they live in a world where the only thing that exists is My Little Pony, but it's so funny. It was so funny and so cute and so clever.
Yeah. Oh, I loved all the My Little Pony stuff.
And I loved it. How'd you feel about the romance in it?
The romance was okay. It was really interesting because the actress, and forgive me, I don't know her name, that played the love interest.
Judy Greer.
She is like the quintessential best friend in like so many movies. She is the best friend of the main character. So she's a really well-known actress in a lot of really big blockbuster movies, but she never plays the lead. She's always the sidekick.
Yeah, Ant-Man, she's a sidekick. 13 going on 30, she's a sidekick.
Yeah.
Jurassic World.
Yeah, so it's one of those things that's just sort of her brand. So it was really interesting to see her get a chance to be the main character. And I thought she did a fine job. I don't think they gave her character a lot to go on other than she likes frogs or toads. I'm not sure what it was.
Toads. Who's Toads?
But she had some good chemistry with John Cena. But overall, to me, that was not the highlight of the story. The highlight of the story was really the relationship with the kids. And I thought the kids did a really great job. They had very diverse characters.
I absolutely agree that it wasn't a highlight of the story. I think it was important because they needed to have a way to show John Cena growing, that they're affecting the way, because they showed the way he talks to her, and he was kind of a D-bag to her at the beginning. So they needed to have a way to compare him to another character and show how much nicer he's getting now that he's with the kids. So I absolutely got her being there, but she was only there to make the story with the kids mean a little bit more. The romance part, yeah, it was a little weird.
Yeah, I think that sums it up pretty perfectly.
There's this really good poop joke about the tree. Like we mentioned earlier, it turns out that he's going to adopt kids, and I like that a lot. It's completely unrealistic for him to just be like, yeah, I'm going to adopt these kids. I'm going to do whatever it takes. But it's super sweet. Their parents died, and they've been trying to hide out and stuff, and they end up accidentally burning down one of the houses they're staying in. And so by the end, John Cena adopts them, and I loved it. I loved that cheesy, dumb stuff of John Cena adopting 3 kids. Loved it.
That's it.
Loved it. Love that part. Okay, so here's what we're going to give you. We're going to give you our rating between 1 and 7. We can wrap this up, explain why we're giving our ratings, and then we'll be done with that. Under 20 minutes, so I hope you enjoy. I'm going to give this movie, if I'm looking at it as to what kind of movie it is, a PG kids movie, I think it is better than the average one. I'm going to go 5.5.
Wow.
5.5 as a movie. A lot of that has to do with the fact that John Cena's in it, because I love John Cena. A lot of it has to do with My Little Pony, because I love My Little Pony.
No, I think both of those things may have biased you a little bit. I think even taking into effect the context of the fact that this is a kid's movie, I didn't think it was better than the average. So I'm going to give it a 3.
Wow. All right, everyone. Check out Playing with Fire wherever you find rentals, and let us know if you disagree with my wife or if you disagree with my wife. Talk to you later.